What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Craig Zilla coming at you with another piano tutorial. Today I'm breaking down Lady by D'Angelo. Now before we get started, there's going to be a link in the description to a video of me just playing through the whole song so you can kind of hear how everything fits together. So without further ado, let's get into it. The song starts off with this intro. Okay, so that's the intro. The first part of it is that lick. Which is just a little E flat minor pentatonic thing. Your first thing is going to be you roll up to this E flat off of the C sharp. And then F sharp, A flat, roll up to B flat off of the A flat. Then F sharp, and then A flat, F sharp, E flat. So, okay, and you do that twice for the intro. And then the chords come in. Right? Now the chords are going to be D flat over E flat to this A minor 7 with the 4 to this E6 9 sharp 11. I think of this sometimes as just like F sharp over E, but I'm also playing this A flat, so instead of calling it F sharp over E, it's technically E major 6 9 sharp 11. And those are the three chords. And you'll play that 3 times, I believe. This will be the second time, or the third time, right? And then on the 4th time, here we go. Do the lick. So every 4th time, you'll play the A flat minor 7, and then do the lick. Instead of going to that E chord on the final pass. Now that's just for the chorus, and you'll notice for the intro, I was doing the bass down here, just to kind of give you an idea how it sounded. Now, if you don't have a bass player, by all means, play the bass line down there. The only thing is, like, if you do play the bass line down there, you might want to do the lick in your left hand an octave lower, instead of trying to do it up here and reach down there. Plus it just kind of sounds more full, so that's the only thing if you're going to be playing the bass line with it. And yeah, so that's the piano part, the bass part. The bass line is just right? So you got the piano part, you got the bass part. Now, if I had a bass player, I would probably just play the chords. I probably wouldn't worry about the bass line, right? I would play it just like this if I had a bass player, right? Right? But also when I was playing this, I noticed there was a cool little guitar part in there. So I kind of wanted to touch on that because I thought it was a really beautiful little guitar part. It's basically this. Okay, pretty cool little part. And there is a situation in where you might be able to get away with playing this part. I was thinking, maybe if you were playing in a band with like two keyboard players and the other keyboard player is doing the chords and you're not sure what to play, I might switch to like a Fender Rhodes with like a phaser on it to kind of get that sound. Right? So, there is maybe a situation where you could play that. But if you're the only keyboard player, stick to the piano part. But let me break that little part down for you real quick. So it's going to be this E flat, B flat, C sharp, and A flat, and you arpeggiate it, right? Then pretty much like a flat minor 7, but again with the 4 here. And before you get to the A flat, go F sharp, A flat, and then B, C sharp, F sharp. Right? Then it's B major 7, but hit the B flat before you hit the B. Right? And then so slide up to that E, and then go B, C sharp, F sharp. Right? Right? So that's the guitar part. I just thought it sounded cool, and I had to figure it out because I liked how it sounded. So, anyways, that's the bass part, the piano part, and the guitar part. So do with that information whatever you want. And that's the chorus, right? So the song starts off with that lick, does the lick twice, and then goes into a chorus, right? And then after that, it's verse, chorus, bridge. Now the verse, the only difference between the chorus and the verse is that during the verse, the piano doesn't actually play a chord over that E. Right? It's just and there's no lick. So there's no lick at the end of the verse. It just goes into the chorus, and then there's a lick at the end of the chorus, but there's no lick at the end of the verse. So you just would, when you get to the verse, just don't play a chord over the E. Right? And I would, again, if I have a bass player, I'll just do like this. Boom, boom, right? I would just, when you get to the E, no chord, right? So that's the only thing about the verse versus the chorus. Now that being said, the guitar part is still the same, I think, for the chorus and the verse. It still plays that chord over the E, right? But the keys don't. So that's the only difference between the verse and the chorus. And like I said, after the initial intro chorus, it goes verse, chorus, bridge. So I'm gonna play through the bridge real quick, and then break it down. Okay, so let's break it down. There's some licks and stuff in there. You could simplify it if you want, but I'll show you a couple different options here. So the first chord's going to be B major 7. Then it goes to this G flat over B flat. And then this D flat chord, right? So there's a little move with the D flat. You play D flat in your left hand, E flat and A flat in your right hand, and then you move that E flat up to F, and then hit D flat up with your pinky. So and then E flat minor 7. So that would be the first pass of the bridge. Now the second pass is the same, except at the end, you play this E flat. I mean this E natural, sorry. E major 7. E natural, E major 7. And there's a little move you can do over it. So the move is A flat minor, like an A flat minor triad, G flat major triad, A flat minor triad, up an inversion, and G flat major triad, up an inversion. So, and in your left hand you're playing that E major 7. So, right. Now you could just play the chord there, right? If you wanted to, you could just go. Right? So there's that walk up on the third pass, I guess it is. Yeah. So it's the same as the first pass, except when you get to the E flat, instead of doing a minor 7, we'll do this walk up. Now that walk up is E flat 7. And in my left hand I have E flat, my right hand I have G, B flat, and D flat, and I'm hitting this E flat after the fact. So I'll play the chord and then grab that E flat up there. Play a F minor triad, then hit the E flat, F sharp diminished triad, hit the E flat 7 over G, hit the E flat. Now I'm playing G, E flat in my left hand here. The rest of the walk up I'm just playing single notes in my left hand, but then once I get to that G, I'm doing G and E flat. And then a G diminished triad in my right hand, and then grabbing the E flat. So and that leads you to this A flat minor 7 chord. And there's this lick you can play over it. So that lick is going to be, you'll start with this F sharp and this C sharp, but like immediately roll that C sharp up to a E flat. So, and then bring it back down. So, and then kind of same idea here. C sharp and A flat, but roll that A flat up to B flat. So that's the first part of it. So then that last part, A flat, F sharp, E flat, F sharp. And that'll be over the chord. Now that's optional. You don't have to do the lick. You could just play the chord, right? But whatever you decide to do, after that A flat minor 7 chord, play a B flat 7 with a sharp 5. All right. Now that's the bridge. After the bridge, there's this little instrumental kind of break part where it's right. So the bass does like this alternate bass line there for the length of one chorus, and then the guitar comes in with the original bass. The guitar kind of fades in. So there's one chorus where it's like alternate bass line. It's not really a chorus though, but it lasts the length of a chorus, and then they do a lick at the end. And then the regular bass line comes in for the length of one chorus. And then at the end of that, now there's no keys on this part of the song, but if you wanted to, you could join in for the lick part of it, if you wanted. So yeah, and then after that little instrumental break, the keys do come back in, but they're a little bit different, right? So they're, instead of just playing the regular chords like we were doing for the other choruses, the keys come in a little different. I'm gonna kind of give you an example here, but like they're like a little bit different. There's some licks in there, some alternate chords, alternate chord voicings and stuff like that. So let me show you real quick, and then I'll kind of break down some of the stuff. You know what I mean? So it's not just like the regular chords. There's little licks that you can throw in there. And you don't have to do it just like that. That's just like kind of some of the stuff that I think I was hearing on the record there. But by all means, you could just play the chords, right? You don't have to do anything fancy there. But if you did want to like improvise a little bit, or like throw in some licks and mix it up, some different chords, instead of this E chord, you could do this E13. You could do this little move, G flat triad to D flat triad to get to the E flat chord. I was hearing a minor 9 on the A flat sometimes there. I was hearing this in there sometimes. Just like a higher F sharp major over E. And the lick. It's kind of like the lick from the bridge. There's that first lick. It's just these notes, right? G flat major over A flat, just little stuff to mix it up, right? If you want to, after that little instrumental break, that would be a good time to do it. And then I think eventually the chords settle back into like the normal, kind of more like normal chords. The chords that we started with at the beginning of the song. We kind of end the song with those chords too, right? Something cool too at the end of this song, I heard that it ends on this this E9 chord, which is cool. But if you're playing it live, most people probably would end it on the lick, I think. But anyways, yeah, I think that just about covers everything. Hopefully that helped you out. If so, please like, subscribe. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, suggestions, or requests, feel free to hit the comment section. Let me know what you're thinking. And that's it for this one. So until next time.